Now, you've run several campaigns. You've been on the campaign trail in the past. You've won races. You've lost races. But you've been out there campaigning hard for many years now. What are the issues based on your experience that matter most to working people? Like, what should our priorities be? What principles, policies, and tactics should we embracing?
Definitely healthcare by far. More people have talked to me about the state of their healthcare and also their wages. So I would say healthcare and wages, and those two things go hand in hand. Unfortunately, in the United States of America, we continue to commodify healthcare. It is tied to a job. The pandemic has shown those all of us, but particularly those people who just didn't get it before, that it is wrong to commodify healthcare. Number one, commodify healthcare. Number two, have that healthcare attached to a job. Millions of people lost their health insurance because they lost their jobs. And when you have adequate, not just adequate healthcare, when you have good healthcare, there's really nothing that you cannot do. You can be very creative in that. You can stay on the job, not stay on the job, open up your own business. You are just really much more secure in your person. And we know most bankruptcies are definitely linked to people, the expense of healthcare. When it comes to wages, I mean, the runaway, let's known wealth, because we could do a whole different another session together when we talk about the gulf between the least of us and the few at the very, very top. The wealth gap is enormous and it is untenable. And I do agree with Dr. Robert Reich that we are in the second iteration of the Gilded Age, that we have robber barons of the 21st century that are really just draining the whole life force out of this country because they're able to buy politicians. It is legal to bribe politicians in the United States of America, and it's happening at all levels of government, particularly on the federal level of government. These kinds of transgressions require a big response. And so we must continue to fight to elect people who actually care about the people who elected them and not just their owner donors. The movement must absolutely continue to push and not get weary in well doing. And people who are poor, their lives do matter. And we must center the fact that the working class do deserve to live a good life. We are at a time in human history where the people in power do not believe that working people deserve to live a good life. Let's use Senator Manchin as an example when he was, uh, stripping away out of the social and the climate portion of reconciliation. He didn't want people to have paid family leave. Well, why is that, Senator? And then he wanted to put conditions on it. But what's the conditions? He said because he was concerned that people would game the system. What, game the system like the ultra wealthy do? Is that the kind of gaming of the system? Like there was some kind of disconnect that somehow working people are undeserving of having paid leave. Which he didn't understand is that to get paid leave means you had to be working a job. So it is, how do we center and lift the lives of people who work and work very hard and say clearly through our policies and through our actions that their lives matter, their quality of life matters, that they should be able to take a vacation, they should be able to buy a certified used car. I always joke, when I'm giving my speeches and I talk about that. Most working people are not asking for too much. They just want to be able to live a good life, stress free, not
Mm.
having, well, not totally stress free, but limit, because we can't be totally stress free, but to limit the stress. Why should one job should be enough? So those are the kinds of things. So having healthcare that is Medicare for all, making a living wage, living in safe communities, education. That is why college for all is so important. And we can't even get this Congress to move on 2 years, just free 2 years. And what it is an investment, because you and I know, and the people who are joining us today know, it's not free, it's an investment.
Mm.
It is just as we, at one point, education was very limited to certain people. We expanded that. So we have a K through 12 model in the United States of America where we as a society make that investment. Well, in the 21st century, it is time for us to have a paradigm shift, and we need to make that investment pre-K to college. So the things that we are asking for and that the movement is asking for and fighting for is not too much. People are drowning. People are overwhelmed. People just can't make ends meet every single day, and they're working the working poor. That's why we call it the working poor. That means that people are working. They're working so hard,
Mm.
but they can't make ends meet. So it's not okay any longer to put that burden on the individual. It never was. We see very clearly that it's not about individuals. It is about a system that is rigged for the few against the many.
One of the things that when I talk to people, I get the sense of is that politics is everywhere these days. Like there's a huge pressure to be politically active and engaged, huge social pressure to be, to think about politics, to consume political media and things like that, to know who the people are who are in politics. And that there's this huge social pressure and people do genuinely have an earnest kind of desire to participate and to do something and to make a difference. Last year in 2020, we saw some of the biggest uprisings we've seen in American history. There was an election that was dubbed, as they all are, the most important consequential election of our time. And then, like you just said, we can't even get 4 weeks of paid family leave, like, which is just the crumbiest of the crumbs that you can expect in any sort of system. So there's this feeling that all this energy just smashes up against a dam and just withers away because there's just the system is so intractable. So how do you tell people to first of all not give up hope, not turn on each other, but also like channel their democratic energy into something that they can feel has some sort of tangible effects?
Yeah, that we have to get together a lot more often. I was really, by way of example, and you may remember this, it was in 2016, right after the primary, where the National Nurses United, it was led by Roseanne DeMauro at the time, but those nurses organized the People Summit.
Mhm.
And it was a beautiful thing just to have the vision to do that, knowing that we who believed in both the movement and Senator Sanders being the leader of that movement, the person that said, I will go, I will run for president, galvanized millions of people across the country and even the world. People were hurting. They're like, damn, our candidate did not make it. And for the National Nurses United to have that vision that they wanted to bring the people together was a beautiful thing. So from time to time, we got to have a family meeting and have that family meeting to reassess, to celebrate, and even to mourn, to plot, to plan, to strategize, to organize, and to mobilize. That's what we must do. So we got to lift each other and keep each other motivated. That's wonderful. Now, even in the fight though, because we're gonna have valley moments and we will have mountaintop moments. We'll have moments where we question our sanity in the work that we're doing, and moments where we say, yes, this is why we are doing it. We cannot have a circular firing squad, even on the progressive left. Everybody doesn't agree 100% with each other, and that's okay too. And we have to be able to say that's okay without questioning the integrity of somebody, unless they have shown you very clearly that they've gone to the dark side. Why would you do that just because you don't agree? There's a saying that goes like this: if two people always agree, one is not needed. And we have to mature and become more disciplined in this movement because we can't afford to fight each other, because we got to fight the neoliberals and the neo-fascists, and we're going to fight each other. That's a losing battle.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to turn into Chuck Todd for a second and ask what's next for Senator Nina Turner? What's next?
Well,
Let's break some news.
let's
No,
make
I'm
some
kidding.
news. Well, I tell you what, I will come back to make news. What is absolutely next for me, and I know 100%, is that I am going to continue to use my cachet as a thought leader to push and to prod and to be side by side with that. I am a hell raising humanitarian. I'm going to keep raising a whole lot of hell whether I run again or not. I think I hear within that question is kind of, are you running again? And I am not sure what I am going to do in that regard. All options are still on the table, but what I do know for sure is that I am going to continue to be one of the leaders in this movement, both side by side with the grassroots in this movement, and to be able to use what God has gifted me to have, my influence, to help garner and to elevate all of us to the next level. So I'm not going anywhere. I will be raising hell one way or the other, either on the inside or the outside, but rest assured, I will be raising hell for good, making that good trouble that Congressman John Lewis talked about so often.
Well, Senator Nina Turner, a hell-raising humanitarian, thank you so much for your time. You're one of the best of us, one of the best people in our movement. I really, really appreciate it. It's an honor to talk to you.
Thank you, Nando, and back at you. And I really appreciate Jacobin and all that you do to elevate the struggle here in this country and also the solidarity abroad. It was because of Jacobin. I want the people who are joining us to know that I just got back from the UK, and I want to thank Jacobin so much for connecting me with your sister organizations in the UK, and to be able to stand side by side with the postal workers over there who are trying to nationalize. Go figure. They're trying to nationalize their postal service, and we got Republicans over here. They're trying to trying to privatize our postal service. But it was indeed an absolute honor, and I look forward to continuing to be in partnership and allyship with Jacobin.
If you enjoyed this video from Jacobin Weekends, please hit like and subscribe. That way, you'll enjoy all of our backlog, as well as all of our future content, including interviews, live streams, and clips. Thank you.